Hello, I thought I'd invite you for this conversation on the topic of health. So, if you know of anyone who is struggling with autoimmune conditions, long COVID or VACC injuries or CANCER, anything that feels big and stuck in the body, or if you're interested in the topic of health, please stick around. I'd like to share with you about a clinic in Croatia that has offered significant impact in my own physical health journey. First, I will share a small context of my own health journey so that you understand what it is that I went to the clinic to heal. And then I'll share about the clinic. I don't earn not anything out of making this video. I really just want to share my experience in the hope that people who might need this kind of healing know where to find it. And also because I have family members and friends who have asked me about my experience. I'm so fortunate. I feel loved by all of them when they ask me how my experience went. And I also don't want to repeat myself 1,000 times. So this video is also for them as a sort of big update. So for context, I have had long COVID and VACC injuries since 2020. It's been very challenging with huge chronic fatigue that keeps me from being able to even work half of my days. Some days it's hard to get out of the couch and shower. I used to be quite athletic and have a full life, and then suddenly I didn't. I also developed quite a few digestive issues. My liver and gallbladder were also not well, lots of hair falling out, huge brain fog and brain fatigue. And of course, having all of these symptoms 24/7 for several years, it really had a huge impact emotionally and mentally on me because it's just not struggling to do the most basic things in a day. I can't describe to you the impact of that mentally, emotionally when it keeps on going for so long. I did have a few health issues, minor health issues prior to 2020 that I was trying to resolve, but nothing that would really get in my way of living basically. But just so you know that it's not like my health was like at a full optimum prior to all of this happening. And I did try a lot of things to heal, from IV injections and ozone, and the list was really quite huge, and nothing really worked, or it just felt like a sort of band-aid that would boost me and then everything would collapse again after a couple of weeks, until gradually over the last 2 years I started to find a few answers here and there that would allow me to take a step and feel a little better, but nothing that would significantly wow and change my life, until I found out about this clinic in Croatia through a friend of a friend of mine who also had long COVID and healed herself in this clinic. I think she actually had even worse symptoms than I did. Anyways, so that's my background, and let's talk more about this clinic. So most importantly, my dog is scratching herself. Most importantly, what I was most wowed by this clinic is that this is the first environment that I've been in over my 15, 16-year journey of healing, as my healing journey started back in 2007 as a teenager when I had like panic attacks and eating disorders. So like I've experimented with a lot of different kinds of healing, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and physical along the way. So know that I have that background. So this clinic was the first time or the first environment I've ever been in where I felt like my full system was being taken care of and supported to heal. So usually, you'll see a therapist or do breath work or something, and you will feel some healing on your emotional or mental level. Or you will go to a sauna or something health oriented or take supplements, and You will feel an improvement in your body. So it always feels like it's sort of like this disjointed. Whatever sort of healing you get, it's mostly on one level, but not another. And my understanding that's been developing within me over all of these years is that it's one system of healing. So you have mental body, emotional body, physical body, energetic body. They're all their own separate layers, but they're also all interconnected and comprise of one full system. And this is what I felt the clinic most offered me, was an approach of healing for my full system, like a blossoming and then healing on all layers at the same time, not one after the other or only one of them. Yay, Susie. And this for me was a huge, huge wow, because I finally felt like all of me was being focused on and supported so that all of me can grow together, like my body feeling well, my heart feeling well, my mind feeling well, not just one or the other. That being said, this is the general way I would describe this clinic. I also found that the different practitioners, I felt like they were quite skilled in their own area of expertise. And I also felt like they were quite open-minded in their own area of expertise. So there was no like, oh, you must be a vegetarian to heal, or you must be a meat eater to heal, or you must do this. Like it really, they weren't interested in fitting you into some kind of box. They were just interested in helping you figure out your way to heal in your own way. And this for me was super important because it really comes back to freedom and finding out who you really are and how to truly live your life in a way that feels aligned with you. And so even if they didn't speak at these terms, their actions spoke at these terms. Okay, so these are two important pieces of information about the clinic in general. Now, in terms of their approach in a more tangible way, I would summarize it in a way where they focus on, let's say, two different styles of healing. One of them is the Ayurvedic style, which is from India. It's 5,000 years old. And the other one was through frequency. So the frequency work based on like Nikola Tesla, Hulda Clark, they started this decades and decades ago. Anyways, I hold a lot of skepticism for health practitioners, physical health or mental, emotional health practitioners in general. I've tested a lot over the last 15 years, and from like a psychological standpoint, I also tested a lot over the last 4 years from a physical standpoint. And, it is so hard and so rare to find practitioners that actually know how to help you heal and not just manage your symptoms better. So skepticism often comes up for me when I meet any kind of practitioner. And anyways, when I met the practitioner who does the Ayurvedic side of things at the clinic, I was quite impressed by him because I did try Ayurveda multiple times in my life, both in India and in Brazil, where I'm originally from. And I wasn't nearly as wowed, and it never really healed anything. But this guy, he really knows his art. By measuring my pulse, he was able to figure out different emotional healings that I've been going through with my father and with authority figure. For example, he was able to see that my stomach isn't doing well, or my liver. Like he was able to find out what's going on with me in multiple levels without me having ever told him, or him knowing any friends or family who could have told him these answers. So I was quite impressed by him being able to really pick all of that up through my pulse, as well as his ongoing support with supplements and food. He really knows his art. And so that was the Ayurvedic part of things. There was also this woman who was like an Ayurvedic therapist that did a lot of massages. I was also quite impressed by how sensitive she was. She could pick up what was going on in my physical body, like emotionally or mentally. She was able to feel everything that was moving. I'm quite sensitive, so I'm able to feel things for myself as well. And it was impressive to find someone else who could also feel them, and we could share with each other what we were picking up in my body so we could better move together in this way. So there was this Ayurvedic part to the clinic that was quite supportive. And then there was the frequency part. So they could diagnose what's going on in my body by measuring the pulse using the Ayurvedic way. But then they also used two other machines. One was the bioresonance machine, which you just put a piece of your hair on the machine and it can tell you what's going on in your physical body, emotionally, mentally. And then there was this other machine, I'm not sure what it's called, or how exactly they go about measuring, but it's also using frequency. And so they would use these frequency diagnostic machines in the Ayurveda to find the most full picture possible of what was going on in my full system, so that they could create a treatment accordingly. Treatment went from Monday to Sunday. It would start at 9 a.m. and go all the way to 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Each day was different. So there was let's say the Ayurvedic part of the treatment that consisted massages and other things that were supportive for my unique needs, along with like an infrared sauna following the massages. And then there was the frequency part of the treatment. For example, where they got this frequency machine, and what word should I use here? The frequency machine knew exactly what it is that I needed to heal from emotional, mental, energetic level to physical level. And so they would embed or infuse those frequencies into the oil that was being used on my body for the massage. And so my body, not only was it receiving a massage and receiving nourishing oils to help the lymphatic system move, to help my body detox and get stuff out, it also had these frequencies embedded in the oil, which honestly was a game changer, because as soon as the oil would like come in contact with my skin, I would feel so much more sensitive, emotionally, mentally, energetically. It's like this magnifying glass opened up and I could notice so much clearer what was going on within me. And I could feel like this, like when I was on the massage table, it was like this, I could feel from my heart all the way down to my gut, as if there was like a open surgery going on. I felt so raw physically, emotionally, energetically. It's insane the amount of energy that I felt shifting over there. The amount of feelings that were coming out, like lots of tears, lots of fears. There were so many feelings coming out. Physically also, she could see that some things were literally leaving my gut that had been stuck there for a long time. She could feel like a sort of energetic plate that made my gut feel completely unshiftable, let's put it this way. And it's interesting that her description of an energetic plate on my gut matched my experience of feeling frozen in my whole body and disconnected. So every time she felt that plate, I was feeling disconnected. And when I was feeling more connected, she would feel a dissolving going on. It's like she had access to shift whatever was stuck in there. So the frequency in these oils really were a game changer, because it's hard for me to put in words how I know it's a game changer. It's mostly the direct experience of deep healing on all levels that I was receiving from them, from those frequencies that were instilled in the oil according to other frequency-based machines that measured exactly what it is that I needed for healing. So it's this beautiful way where they bring together modern medicine using frequencies with ancient techniques of Ayurveda, for example. And so still in the topic of frequencies, there would be these machines, for example, the plasma generator, where I would sit across from it and it would just emit these very strong frequencies to kill different pathogens inside of me. So they would also choose which frequencies I needed based on the diagnosis they made. And I would just sit there for an hour and a half, receiving those frequencies into my body. At first, it didn't feel like much, but as days went on and time went on, I could feel so much intensity in my body just by sitting across those machines. Then there was this other machine, I don't know what the name is, I wish I knew the name, that could measure using scalar energy what's going on in your physical, emotional, mental body, and what remedy do you need in that moment. And that remedy would come through the machine as light in front of you, sounds in your ears, and vibration coming through your hands. So you would just sit down, hold these machines that would send vibration into you. You would receive sounds through your earphones, and you would receive a light over here. And based on your needs. And it was very interesting as I was sitting there because I could feel things shifting in my body. I could feel my mind going through this huge settling, my whole nervous system settling and finally stopping and just being, which is when healing can actually happen because it just felt so dysregulated for so long, like constant inflammation going on, basically. So these were roughly a little bit about the frequency side of things. And then there were the sessions, the hypnotherapy sessions that happened. I was also skeptical. Sorry for the noise. I was also skeptical about the hypnotherapy sessions, given everything that I've tried. And I must say, I wouldn't even call the sessions that I received, I wouldn't even call it hypnotherapy. I have a very different idea of what hypnotherapy looks like. But this guy, whatever his sessions are called, was just absolutely incredible in his art, in his skill. I was able to finally empty a bucket of anger that I have had for years. I have worked on my feelings, my thoughts, belief systems for 16 years already. So I'm not a newbie, let's call it this way, in this field of inner work. And yet there was this anger that I just couldn't empty my bucket. It was constantly there, coming and going. Due to a few things that happened in my childhood and my teenage years. And yet the anger always felt like too much for the amount of stuff that had actually happened to me. So I never quite understood why I had so much anger and why it just never went away, no matter what I tried or what I did. And then in the sessions with this guy, it was like this clarity that opened up, and I could see how the anger had been coming down through the generations on my father's lineage. And how it finally reached me. And so it just became the clarity, like it was just so much bigger than just myself. And that clarity alone already started the healing process. And I started releasing that anger. And I really feel like most of the anger bucket is finally emptied. I feel so much lighter. And I've never experienced this in anything that I've tried, from ayahuasca, iboga, breath work, conscious movement, whatever you think of, I've most likely tried it. It never emptied that bucket. And then there were other sessions where I was going through this, like, into this deep frozenness and fear that I've also carried for most of my life, although it was just like in the background of things. And with being ill, it really has come to the foreground, or when I was ill. Hopefully I'm not anymore. So we started to dive into there, and it also, like, I got clarity into what was going on for me prior to being born. I got clarity about things that happened for like my great, however greats in English, grandmother, and how that came down to manifest itself into frozenness, into fear, into this feeling of just not wanting to be alive on this planet. I've carried this for so long. And again, I've gone into it, I've looked into it, I've felt it, I've done everything I could, and somehow it still kept coming. And I still kept crumbling into it. There's nothing wrong with having feelings come up. The issue is when we, get completely lost and identified in the feeling, and then that keeps us from living and doing things that really feels aligned with us. That's the issue, and that's what was happening with me, both in terms of the anger and also in terms of these feelings. There's so many other feelings that I transmuted or dissolved along the years, but these two were like really, really, really core ones for me. And again, I was impressed by this guy's skills in our sessions. The amount of clarity and healing that came through were really quite astounding. I'm still kind of digesting it, and maybe I'll make a separate video just talking about these sessions alone, but I wanted to at least speak about it a little bit in regards to their whole treatment approach. Which very much I went to the treatment to treat my body and to get energy back and to get my gut going and to get my mind better, my head better. And yet I got all of this emotional support, mental, emotional support as well, that came through and was perfectly integrated with the treatment. They also offered probiotics and other kinds of supplements that I was taking during the clinic and now after the clinic to keep on the treatment. So there's still things that need to happen that I need to do to keep supporting my body into healing. What else? I must say, during the week that I was there, I was feeling so deeply like myself. I felt so free in my heart, in my mind, even in my body, even in my body, that I almost forgot that I had been stuck to a couch, a house, a bed for over 4 years of my life. And that alone, like literally almost forgetting the insane stress and darkness I have been in on the last several years, that alone was impressive because I just felt so deeply like myself, and I was just feeling so present and moving through everything I needed to move through, and my body was just feeling so well. I was like, wow, like I have no idea how exactly this is going to heal my body, but like in my heart, this feels amazing in myself. And just praying to God, that all this healing that I was receiving, that it would translate into physical healing, of course, because that's also the primary reason why I went there, except it happened as one big whole, basically. And now I have been back from the clinic for 3-4 days now, so I'm still landing back home. Usually I don't like sharing information about a treatment or approach until several months later, because I like being really landed and settled, with a lot of time to digest and integrate what I went through and learn to speak more objectively. And also in this case, to be able to see clearly what kind of improvements I actually received at a physical level, which was my aim at going to this clinic in the first place. However, because there were a lot of people asking about my experience, I decided to make this video now, and that's why I'm making this video and sharing all of this with you. So far, that I've only been home for like 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, my mind already feels so much better. Like, let's say if I had like 100% of brain fog before, I'm literally feeling it now at like a 20%. And this is huge because I could hardly read something to try and figure it out, be it medically speaking or something simple like a recipe. I'd have to read it like 4 or 5 different times just to make sense of what I was reading, like something was seriously wrong up here. Energy wise, yesterday I did have a big crash. I was exhausted all day, but today I'm making this video and I am feeling alive. I'm not feeling 100% alive, but I am feeling alive, which is way more than I have felt over the last 4 or 5 years of my life. The day before yesterday, I walked tons with my dog. My body was feeling more open. My muscles were feeling stronger. Energy was flowing through my body. I was quite impressed, and I walked more than I would have walked on any single day prior to coming to this treatment. So it's clear that I'm going to need a few days or a few weeks for my body to kind of land back and find its center, for me to be able to assess where my body is at. But for now, I already feel insanely better on all levels than prior to going to the clinic. And so that is a huge win. Not and on top of that, just feeling like feeling way more faith in life again, because it was starting to get really dark inside. So feeling a lot more, way more faith and trust in this particular challenging trajectory that life has put me in. One more topic for anyone for whom this is especially important, it's the ferritin levels. If any of you have anemia or have had anemia, know anyone has anemia or very low ferritin levels, that also contributes to fatigue and hair falling and other symptoms. I had researched a lot about it to try and figure this out because I've had low ferritin levels for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And a lot of things made sense, like iron needs the cofactors of copper and vitamin C, but none was like, I never felt like any supplement that I looked at or any person that I read about, I never felt like it fully came together up until I was talking to this Ayurvedic practitioner at the clinic. And I felt this inner opening around healing, finally being able to heal my ferritin levels and give myself this very important mineral that's so needed for liver health and thyroid and energy levels and so much more. And that's the fact that he he gave me this honey to take at home, which has lots of different herbs in it, as well as iron and copper, like all of these different nutrients and nanoparticles, basically. And one of the most important elements with ferritin levels is making sure your digestive system is strong. I mean, you need your strong digestive system, full stop, as a foundation, because if your inner digestive fire isn't working properly, you're not going to be able to absorb nutrients. If you're not able to absorb nutrients, your body will not function as optimally, which means it won't be able to get toxicity out of the body. And if toxicity isn't going out of the body, then you have a problem, because health issues are going to start building up. It's kind of like a closed loop system. This would be my summary of how health issues take place, basically. This low digestion, not being able to absorb minerals and vitamins through food or supplements, and then body not functioning optimally, and then toxicity being stuck in your body, which then attracts all sorts of pathogens, creating all sorts of health conditions in the body, and then it becomes like a closed loop circle, basically. So he put the iron and other minerals and herbs in this honey, so that my body could actually start absorbing the iron that's in that honey, as well with having worked really hard on my digestive system in the clinic to make sure that it starts absorbing things, and working on my stomach to make sure it's also has a strong fire to break things down. So for the first time, I actually have a feeling that I will truly be able to resolve this ferritin issue. And I've never had this feeling before. I always read through things, experimented, but never really had this feeling. So this was a pretty important piece for me, and hopefully this is helpful for any of you watching this as well. I did not find their website to be very useful. They haven't updated their website in like over 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, because they've been so busy. So I did not find their website useful to actually describe the depth of the healing that they offer. So I will drop their website down below in the captions, but at this point in time, I don't know when you watch this video, but at this point in time, it's not good. Maybe by the time you watch this video and the website has been updated, maybe it will be amazing, but at this point in time, it's not that amazing. And you're also welcome to email me if you need any further contact details from them, I'm happy to share that with you. And anything else that I forgot to share about this huge summary? Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing, which is I am 100% impressed by how thorough they were in their approach in healing all levels at the same time. I've never found this anywhere, and I've tried a lot of things, and finally I felt like there was hope to actually be able to heal and regain my aliveness, my health, and be able to fully live life in the way that I imagine it can be lived. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope it offers you a lot of clarity and answers, and please share it with anyone who you feel could benefit from this information. I also feel that if anyone is feeling particularly stuck emotionally, that this sort of approach could also be helpful, because if they're able to work on all of you, I feel like the feelings can also flow if you feel particularly stuck. Of course, it is also important, like you need to, let's say, do your part, which is learn how to be present with what you're experiencing, learn how to communicate it, learn how to feel what's going on. Because if you don't know how to feel what's going on, be it the fear or the frozenness or the disconnection or the anger or whatever, you're going to end up blocking the flow of healing. So there's only so far that their treatment can go. So of course, whenever you're receiving support, be it at this clinic or any other approach, it is of vital importance that you learn how to remain grounded in your body and feeling the feelings and sensations that come up without getting lost in them, so that the energy can flow through and take you into deeper healing. So just wanted to add this in, which is kind of like your side of the bargain. It is very, very important that you show up in this way also. And if you don't know how to show up in this way, which means being really grounded in your body, feeling your feelings, your sensations, learning how to stay connected, navigating and dissolving them, you're welcome to contact me, as well as this is the inner work that I offer to support people into healing, or part of the inner work that I offer. Okay, I hope this is it for now. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll be happy to answer. Maybe I'll be making another video on this topic in a few weeks' time, to add further any other reflections that I have noticed, in terms of changes that have been going on since leaving the clinic. But for now, this is all. Okay, lots of love. I hope you're well. Be well. Bye.